Hello?
Hello, is this Johnathan?
Speaking.
Hi, Johnathan. It's Frank DeFreitas. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I was so surprised. This was the first international call I dialed direct with the new service that I have, and it went right through, so I'm happy for that.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's working.
Why don't we start off by you doing a introduction to your gallery in London, how that came about. Did you have a gallery previous to the one that you have now? Because I know we've been in touch for many, many years.
Well, I had a gallery way back in the late 1970s, which was called the Hologram Place.
Mm-hmm.
And that had the honor of being the first specialist holographic gallery in Europe. But it was also one of the shortest running, I should think. We only managed to keep going a year.
Oh, I see.
Back then there was very little on the market in any case, and really the public didn't know what to make of it either.
Oh, okay. Well, who were some of the...
a lot of pendants.
I imagine it must have been some of the early artists like Margaret Benyon and a few of the other folks back then, right?
Well, Margaret was actually in Australia at that time, but we had pieces from Dan Schweitzer and Sam Murray.
Oh, okay.
And that sort of generation.
Yeah, the same folks that were exhibiting around that time at the Museum of Holography in New York on Mercer Street.
Exactly. I mean, that's how we all got started, really, thanks to the Museum of Holography in New York.
Yeah.
It was quite an inspiration, I think.
Well, this was a personal vision of your own, right? I've always heard the Johnathan Ross holography collection or hologram collection, so this was your own personal vision, right?
Well, at the beginning, it wasn't. I happened to meet a bunch of people who'd known about holography a little longer than I had. I'd seen the Light Fantastic exhibitions at the Royal Academy in London, which were the first, firstly laser transmission and then white light reflection holograms to be seen in England.
Okay.
But I met this group of enthusiasts who wanted to do something, and I joined up with them. But I'm probably the only one still hanging in from that lot.
Yeah, what's the scene like in specifically London with holography right now?
Well, there are a number of people doing commercial work. There's particularly the people at Spatial Imaging, Rob Munday and Jeffrey Robb. And then there's Mike Medora's company, Color Holographics,
okay,
which is making fantastic large format color stereograms.
They're the new producers of the BB plates as well, right? Didn't they buy that technology? Yeah.
But as far as art goes, there's London's in a bit of a quiet period. Patrick Boyd is hoping to open a school of holography out of Richmond, where Spatial Imaging are based.
Okay.
But that's still in the planning stage.
Yeah, he's been here at my place when he's been in the States.
Yeah, well, Patrick was at the Royal College of Art here, and I think one of the most interesting of the people to come out of that period.
Yeah. You have more than holography in your gallery, though, right?
I show holography maybe once a year or every 2 years. Mainly I'm showing painters for two reasons. One is that there's so little holography being made in the UK, and the other is that people aren't really aware of it as a collectible art medium.
Mm-hmm. Still to this day, huh?
I think people enjoy looking at holography when I have it in the gallery. They love the shows, but the idea of buying it hasn't quite gone through.
Have you ever done any work with the schools?
I've had an exhibition in one of the London schools, and there's over the years there's been some educational activity in the UK. I mean, Pearl John, for instance, is teaching down in, I think it's Portsmouth at the moment.
Yes, she was at a career center here in the U.S. for a number of years.
Yes, and actually she's going to be giving a talk to the Royal Photographic Society next month about her work there.
Okay.
Martin Richardson is also doing some teaching at the moment. He's based at De Montfort University, which is in the Midlands here.
It's very popular here in the States for what we have called science fairs with the students, You do you see that there as well?
Yeah, some of the big exhibitions in the past have been associated with science institutions of one kind or another, like the Science Museum in London. But there really hasn't been a big show here for a long time, and I think that's what's needed. Certainly that's where I'm putting my energies into trying to persuade a museum to put on a holography show.
Now, I noticed that your holography shows are basically through invitation only. Is it the same group of people that usually come to your openings, or is it an ever-expansive group of people?
It is expanding because my mailing list increases, and so show by show I add names to it.
You live there, right?
Yeah, it's all in my house, which makes not having to go to work in the morning a pleasure.
Yeah, same here. I'm in my own house. I've had the holography lab here for over 20 years. And in my case, it helps because the folks that come here to take holography workshops want to see how it's done in a home, because they want to go back and do it in their own home. So it's a perfect situation for that. Yeah.
I used to have a holography lab in a previous home when I was involved with a company called C3 Holograms, and we were doing mastering for embossed holograms. Do
you still do any holograms?
Not personally, no. I sold my business in about 1990, and since then it's been more collecting and exhibition organizing that I focused on.
You know, when we first started corresponding, it was through the mail. Back and forth. I believe you were on a mailing list for an old newsletter that I started back in the early 80s called The Hologram that I would mail out to everyone. I'd compile information and send that out. How has the web changed things for you now that you have the website? I notice you have two websites. You have the one specifically for your gallery, and then also another one that leads over to a more holography-related website.
Yes, well, it's opened things up fantastically. I'm sure you'll find that too. I mean, your website's a great source of information for everyone in the community. But I've found, I guess, that I get inquiries from all over the world now, which I did to a certain extent before, but far more so. I mean, it's usually from people who are asking for a free catalogue. So I offer one on my website.
Yeah.
And they're from everywhere you can think of. They describe themselves as being interested in holography for a number of reasons.
So I
want to take it up.
I imagine that's widened your geographical area for people who come to your openings then as well, right?
Well, I wouldn't say I get that many visitors from overseas. I mean, every now and again someone will maybe be on a trip to London and come and see the collection.
You're located in a place in London that's next to, what is it called, West Kensington or New Kensington or something?
Yeah, it's part of Kensington and Chelsea, and Earl's Court, where I am, was historically famous for its Australian community, although that's changed over the years. It used to be called Kangaroo Valley over here.
Okay. Yeah, I saw your gallery /home on your website, and we have similar homes. It's what we call here in the States similar to a row home.
A which?
We call them row homes because they're very close together. They don't have a lot of land around them, you know.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
We'd call it a terrace over here.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I grew up in an area of Philadelphia called Kensington, by the way.
How funny.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your collection and some of the pieces that you have. Are you still adding pieces to your collection, or is that pretty much filled out?
Yes, whenever I can. There's a core of artists that I'm interested in, and if they have works available, I'll always be interested to look at them. The most recent piece I think I acquired was a beautiful mid-period Rudy Burkhardt.
Mm-hmm.
One called Breakthrough, which he exhibited in his Whitney Museum show.
Okay.
But that's a kind of a rare occurrence to bring something in from the States.
Yeah.
I bought a piece of Dan Schweitzer's after he died from his widow, which was another beauty called The Seed.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yes, I've seen that hologram in New York.
Well, I remember seeing it the first time I went to visit Sam and Dan's studio in New York, when I did a short course there in about 1980. And I think that Dan had just made that hologram, and it really blew my mind. I couldn't work out how he'd made it, and of course he wasn't going to tell me. But it always stayed in my mind, and we discussed it over the years, but I could never really afford it until just recently.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any pseudo-color reflections in your collection?
Yes, certainly, quite
John Kaufman was probably one of
John
the...
Kaufman, I've been buying from over the years. I had a one-man show that is here, in fact, a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to think he's not producing any longer.
Do you ever display any laser transmission holograms?
I have only once, and that was quite recently because I had a colleague here in London called Mike Anderson make me a little laser diode display.
Mm-hmm.
Using a small diode and an overhead mirror to control the light,
mm-hmm.
and it worked very well. I showed one of Margaret Benyon's early pieces, and then I showed a little piece that Paula Dawson gave me too.
I think Margaret Benyon was the first person that I had seen a holography show of in New York, and she had a lot of laser transmission pieces there at the time. And I love them, except that for the fact that the regulations are getting so strict anymore for displaying any large format laser transmission holograms that you don't see them around too much anymore outside of demonstrations and things like that at a school or at a lab.
Yes, I expect that's right. I mean, I remember the first holograms I saw at the Royal Academy were laser transmission, and they had these whacking great argon lasers whizzing around the room to illuminate them. But they actually made a feature of the laser running along the ceiling of the gallery before being beamed down onto the plate. And they look great, but I haven't seen anything like that in a long time either.
I'm going to have a link that'll go directly to your website. I'll send them right over to your gallery website, and that'll be on the HoloTalk page, so that either while they're listening to the show or after the show is over, they can go and visit what you've been doing.
Well, that would be good. I have to mention Andy Pepper when you mentioned the website, because Andy was the person who put me up for having a site in the first place and has designed it ever since.
Yeah, it's a very nice
really
site.
Done a beautiful job, I think.
Yeah, it's a beautiful site. It's a beautiful layout, very nice and clean. It's very clean.
Well, we change it from time to time. Andy's working on some new things at the moment. Haven't got too much video on it, but a few little clips.
Mm-hmm.
Might try and add some more of those.
What are your plans for the future? Do you ever take your collection on the road? It would be nice to have it touring the States, don't you think?
Well, I did one show in the States, a very small one, a few years ago, at the Butler Institute of American Art.
Yes, that's right. That was in Ohio.
That's right. And they've shown a lot of holography since then. The director there, Lou Zona, was responsible for opening up this new wing of the gallery, which is all to do with media art and technology. And he's shown, I think, Andy Pepper, Patrick Boyd, I think some of the New York artists as well. He's very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't got anything else lined up in the States for now, but always open to invitations.
Yeah. Oh, I saw your curios cabinet. That's interesting. I collect a lot of stuff like that for holography, too. I have tons of stuff like that that's in your curios cabinet.
I think it's irresistible. And the Internet certainly helped me in that respect, because now that eBay's there, you can just find endless holographic knickknacks.
Yeah.
And stuff that I probably go by or wasn't available in England at the time. Some of the toys and holographic CDs and packaging and stuff like that. I think it's well worth collecting. Yeah,
one of my pieces that I really cherish, I have a number of them, maybe about 4 or 5 of them left. It's from what I understand, probably one of the first commercial uses of holography was the King Vitamin ring.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was
like a little red plastic ring with a reflection hologram on the top?
Yeah, it was McDonnell Douglas pulse laser that did those. And it's got King Vitamin, and it's got a little secret chamber in it, and you can wear the ring, and it's an image plane reflection hologram, rather dim, but image plane reflection hologram of King Vitamin wearing the crown, and he sort of sticks out of the ring, if you get it aligned properly, but it's a nice little piece in that realm anyway.
I picked one of those up when I visited the Museum of Holography years ago, but I've never seen the real packaging. I've seen it reproduced. You don't have the original cereal box, do you?
Oh, no, I do not. No, that would be nice to have, wouldn't it?
all that kind of stuff, I think people will still enjoy in the years to come, don't you?
I think so. I think so, and just for the fact that it's a curiosity more than anything else. How do you feel about amateur and hobbyist holography? Do you follow that at all?
Well, I'm always interested to see holograms that people have done. There's not a lot going on with that here. There are a few people that attend Royal Photographic Society meetings who are trying to do the holograms in a small way, and I'm very supportive of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably bigger in the States, more of you over there.
Yeah.
And certainly some of the early holographers produced their work on very inexpensive equipment, didn't they? I mean,
yeah,
little 5 milliwatt lasers and sand tables and all of that.
Yeah, yeah. What are your plans for the future with the gallery?
Well, I do art fairs occasionally to try and broaden my audience, but otherwise I just do 6 to 8 shows a year, show holography when I can, and I've got a little stable of English painters, so I'm promoting them, and it just rolls on, really.
Yeah. And is the gallery your main career? Is that what you do for your career? Is art and gallery?
Yes, I'd say it is these days. I mean, I would say holography is still one of my main interests, but the gallery probably absorbs more time than I can spend on holography per se.
Yeah. You have a videotape as well, don't you? I remember getting a flyer or something in the mail about a videotape.
That was something that
years ago.
A guy called Matthew Andrews produced, and I financed that. It's quite a while ago now, but he was doing some educational stuff, and he needed a video to show in classrooms. So he made this 7-minute tape called How to Make a Hologram, and it's a good introduction, I think.
Yeah. And can that be ordered from your website as well?
Yeah, there's still copies of that available.
Is that in a format?
I did a CD-ROM last year.
Oh, really?
The collection.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to send you a copy of that if you don't have it.
No, please do. Is the videotape available in a format? I imagine there's PAL
you can
format.
have it in PAL or NTSC. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we'll get the notice out about the new show, and people can come online and hear about you and your gallery and some of the history behind it, and then go over to your website and check it out. Do you have a mailing list that people can subscribe to as well on the website?
You can subscribe for updates, so when the site gets changed, you'll get a notification. And if anybody wants to email me with any inquiries or just to correspond on the subject of holography, I'm always pleased to hear from anyone anywhere.
Yeah, I believe I'm on that list because I get your email notifications, and I appreciate that. And Johnathan, it's really been great talking to you. It's been so many years, and I know
I'll always remember your newsletter with the little silhouette of the man in the deer stalker with the meerschaum pipe.
Oh yeah, yeah, that does go back.
Sherlock Holmes to ring me.
Yeah, well, I was always a 221B Baker Street fanatic at one time. So
have you ever been to London?
No, I have not. It's something I need to do at some point if I can get myself onto an airplane, which I don't fly, so that's really limited my involvement personally.
Take an ocean liner, and I'll look forward to seeing you sometime.
An ocean liner might not be a bad idea. Johnathan, thank you so much. It was
Pleasure.
great. It was great talking to you. Take care.
All the best.
All right, bye.
Bye.